What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon back, and if you've been living under a rock, let me just tell you, the Pokemon TCG has been exploding in the past few months. Certain Pokemon have had new record prices, but none as much as our boy in today's video, Gengar. The last time I did a top 10 Gengar cards video was about 4+ years ago, so I think we are overdue for a new top 10 most expensive Gengar Pokemon cards, considering the new record-breaking prices we've been seeing on a lot of these cards. And it's my opinion that Gengar is one of the top 10 greatest Pokemon of all time, and if you're not convinced by that, just stay tuned to the very end and you'll see what I'm talking about with some of these sales. A quick shout out to today's video sponsor, folks. It is CantoShark.com, the ultimate Pokemon card marketplace. CantoShark.com is about to have some insane graded Pokemon cards added to their marketplace. New cards and product are added to their website each and every week, featuring both vintage and modern cards. And if you're interested in consigning with them, they have recently sourced and sold some extremely high-end grails in the past couple of weeks. In other words, they know how to run a business and take good care of your cards. A link to the Canto Shark website will be in the description of this video. Please support the channel, folks. Go check them out and let me know what you pick up. Alright, folks, let's get started off with the top 10 most expensive Gengar Pokemon cards that have sold in recent times. Starting off with the number 10, it is the Gengar Holo from Expedition. This guy has recently sold in auction as a PSA 10 for $6,700. And the E-Series is no stranger to expensive PSA 10 Pokemon cards. This here is one of them. This is the number 10 most expensive on our list. Coming in at number 9, we have the Reverse Holo Gengar from Legendary Collection. Very, very low pop card. This guy in a CGC 10 has recently sold for $4,080. However, a PSA 10 copy of this card has most recently sold for $7,357 big ones. At the time of this sale, there were only 8 PSA 10 copies of this card in the entire world. And coming in number 8, we have this unlimited holographic Sabrina's Gengar from Gym Heroes. In PSA 10 has sold in auction for $7,897. And this is a notoriously hard card to grade, as there is a ton of holofoil to be scratched and to be having print lines on it. So yeah, this card right here is one of the most expensive unlimited cards from WotC and the 8th most expensive Gengar card overall. Folks, did you know that according to a Pokedex entry in the Sun and Moon series, Gengar was once a human? And it now tries to take lives because it wants to ease the loneliness and have a couple of ghostly companions? That's a little bit messed up. The number 7 most expensive Gengar card to be sold would have to be this Gengar Sparkle card from the Topps Chrome series. This card in PSA 10 has sold in auction for $8,026. Now, the Topps Chrome series is not my cup of tea, but these Sparkle cards, these Techno cards from the series are very, very difficult to obtain in PSA 10 condition, so there you go. Like I said, not what I collect, but this is a very expensive card nonetheless. Coming in number 6, we have the Gengar EX from Fire Red Leaf Green. This card in a PSA 10 was listed for $10,000, but ended up having a best offer accepted price of $8,700. I think the recent resurgence of EX cards has boosted this old school Gengar EX to new levels. This is the number 6 most expensive card. Coming in number 5 is one of my favorite types of chase cards. It is a Level X Gengar from Arceus. This card sold as a PSA 10 in auction for a whopping $9,100. And PSA 10 Level X cards usually have a very low pop. This guy right here is a pop 46 as far as PSA 10s go, and I am absolutely in love with it. Did you know that Gengar almost went by another name? Believe it or not, they were contemplating naming this ghostly Pokemon Phantom. Not the cleverest name in the franchise is certainly an understatement, so let's be thankful they didn't take the lazy route and name him Phantom, but rather Gengar, which we know and love. The number 4 most expensive Gengar is the OG Fossil Gengar in PSA 10 first edition. This guy has recently sold in auction for $8,797. However, as a CGC 10 Pristine, this guy sold for $9,300. When I see PSA 10 prices along with CGC 10 prices, it always makes me wonder what a BGS 10 would go for. The number 3 most expensive Gengar sale that I could find would have to be, once again, the Sabrina's Gengar from Gym Heroes. However, this one is the first edition copy that has sold for $9,999. So, basically a $10,000 card, and it suffers the same issues as the unlimited copy, where it's so hard to grade because of all that holofoil. It is a very, very low pop card, making it the number 3 most expensive. Coming in second place, this guy was actually in first place a few years ago when I did this video. It is the Misaki Gengar promo in PSA 10 that is most recently sold for $10,500. Now, 3 to 4 years ago, this card actually sold for a lot more, but I'm going by the most recent sales of these cards, and this guy right here landed at the number 2 spot. Folks, Gengar is too awesome to just stop at 10. We have to go over a couple of honorable mention sales. Here from EX Legend Maker, we saw a PSA 10 Gengar sell in auction for $2,405. Here is a full art Gengar EX from Phantom Forces that had a recent sale of $4,219. Here are 2 Japanese Black Label 151 Master Ball Gengars. This one sold for $3,530. The other one sold for $4,050. Here is a very spooky Gengar. It is a BGS-10 Pristine Japanese Sabrina's Gengar that sold in auction for $3,050. And what makes this card so spooky is the fact that it had gravestones in the background, which was banned in the English copy of this card. It's just too frightening for kids. I think it's perfect for Gengar, but whatever. Up next, we have this first edition Dark Gengar from Neo Destiny. Sold as a PSA 10 recently for $5,100. Here is a Gengar Prime from Heart Gold Soul Silver Triumphant. Sold for $3,051. Here is the Holo Gengar from Legendary Collection. Not the reverse holo, but the regular holo card, sold as a PSA 10 for $5,640. And then a few modern Gengars. We can't forget about the modern Gengar cards. Here is a Gengar Mimikyu GX from Team Up. This is the alt art card that sold most recently as a PSA 10 for $2,500, while a BGS 10 copy of this card sold for $2,550. Here is the Gengar VMAX from Fusion Strike that is sold as a PSA 10 for $1,275. And then last but not least, we have my favorite Mega Evolution. It is the Mega Gengar EX from Phantom Forces. This is the secret rare copy that sold as a PSA 10 for $4,600. Which brings me to the number 1 undisputed most expensive Gengar as of right now. It is the Holo Gengar from Skyridge. A raw copy of this card has recently sold for $2,275, but let's take a look at a few graded copies. Here is a CGC 10 Pristine copy that has sold for $11,400, while a PSA 10 copy has sold for $12,850. And unironically, on CantoShark.com, this guy has sold for an even $20,000, folks. This is a confirmed paid-for sale. $20,000 large for the big purple ghost. What do you think about that? Man, folks, Gengar has really skyrocketed. I mean, most of these cards just a few months ago were a fraction of the price that they are today. What do you think about it? Is Gengar your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. I really appreciate you watching this video the whole way through. Don't forget to leave a like and don't forget to be a subscriber if you're not already. That's all I got today, folks. I will catch you all on my next one.